Countdown clock on the overlay. Test scrolling fast, can't read a thing. Got my day ones, got some new names, all riding in on this pixel wave. Scene switch quick, that raid just hit. Hype train glow with the stickers lit. I say, yo, fam, this our year. You spam those C-modes, fill the screen in hell. Rocking in the new year on Steve's very own. Every fall like a firework blow. From the VODs to the live shows on. We're loud, we're here, we're here. Rocking in the new year on Steve's very own. From the lurch watch to the chat full blown. If you're in this stream, you're never alone. We're loud, we're loud, we're here, we're home. Take that shot when the timer drops. Hit go live and the beat just pops. Got bad jokes and my best friends, turning quiet nights into wild weekends. Pull up chairs in a digital room, turn that late night scroll to a full-on boom. I say 3, 2, 1, let's ride. You flood the screen, all caps in the sky. Rocking in the new year on Steve's very own. Every fall like a firework blow. From the VODs to the live shows, oh, we're loud. We're here, we're home. Rocking in the new year on Steve's very own. From the lurch watch to the chat full blown. If you're in this stream, you're never alone. We're loud, we're here, we're home. Type it out, let me see those hands in the chat all across the lands. From the small screens glow to the massive dreams, we're building this brick by brick as a team. New year, same crew, new planes to own. New clips, new bits, new inside jokes. Turn it up till the neighbors know. Steve's very own, let the whole world know. Rocking in the new year on Steve's very own. Every follow like a firework blown. From the VODs to the live shows on. We're loud, we're here, we're home. Rocking in the new year on Steve's very own. From the lurch watch to the chat full blown. If you're in this stream, you're never alone. We're loud, we're here, we're home.
What up, boomer?
Click on the stream, light the spark. Steve's very own, tearing through the dark.
No, that was
Ooh,
embarrassing.
fingers on the keys. Old school rhythm bending the breeze. Building his world one clip at a time. Pixel by pixel, climbing the climb. No map, no guide, just the screen's glow. Steve very own and the show. Hello! Hey chat, you there? Hey chat, who cares? Steve's very own. Breaking the code. He's got the fire. Riding the load. Steve's very own. The crowd's his soul.
All right, good afternoon. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to the stream. How is everybody doing today? All right, nice couple of mishaps. So today's stream is about, do you want to come to Linux from Windows and you're a streamer? That could be issues. Could be easy, could be hard, depending on what distribution yet you take, how you want to do it, how you stream. I'm not even going to cover gaming in the so if you have any questions in that, I'll do my best to answer them. There are a lot of people coming over. Well, I'll say there's a lot of people coming over to Linux from Windows, especially streamers that on Windows 10 don't want to couldn't upgrade to Windows 11. Maybe are still streaming on Windows 10 and they're not getting any security updates and that, so they're taking a chance. They don't have the money to buy a new computer, or they don't feel like really going to Windows 11. Almost a year ago, I did the reverse. I had been streaming for several years on Linux. Not too many problems, but as I got more complex with my streaming and more complex with what I wanted to do and learned about StreamerBot, I found out how difficult for me, I'll put it that way, for me, to continue streaming on Linux. Lots of changes, lots of things happening. Windows is a much better platform because of a lot of the software that's out there that help us streamers stream. Make sense? There's a lot of workarounds in Linux. Some of it's easy. Again, it depends on how you want to stream. If you are just a streamer that wants to have maybe a title across, in a little fancy box, that's fine. Then there's no judgment here on how you're streaming, how you should stream, and how I think you should stream. But there are considerations to make when you're coming over from Linux to Windows. I am constantly in the OBS Discord forum reading the forum. I do post questions from time to time. And it's pretty good team. It's all, volunteers that are working there. So, there are a lot of people that sometimes get a little pushy and things like that. So if you happen to be in that kind of forum, you're asking questions there, realize that a lot of these people are from different time zones. And when you post a question, maybe someone that might deal with your question will uh, be sleeping and not answer till later. I see so many times. Well, I kind of digress there a little bit, but there are certain things that you're going to need to look at coming over from Windows to Linux. Today, I'm streaming on my Linux platform. As it goes along, I got a lot of my actions to work, um, and a lot I didn't. We'll go through that as I talk about the things that you need to consider streaming on Linux. Again, it's going to depend on how you stream, and the gaming complex part of it. I don't game. I do once in a while where I'll hook up my Nintendo Wii U to a USB video capture card. Um, and I don't need to be any fancy or high frame rates and things like that. We're just talking about regular streaming. Also, as I'm doing this, I'm seeing what's working on my stream as I port things over. Right now, I want to double check. Now, I usually play music on my stream. I got my music player up there. You see it's blank right now. But in YouTube, because of the music that you can play while you're live on Twitch, you can't play that music when you're live, even if you're live on YouTube. If you record it, it's got to be copyright free. I understand that. Twitch is a little bit different. So you usually hear the music on Twitch and you don't hear on YouTube. Well, I want to make sure it looked like some of the settings might be missing. So I'm going to play some royalty free music right now. And I'm going to be listening to see if it comes up. So give me a moment here and then we'll go. I need my music. see. So I hear me talking. Might have heard that. Okay, no music coming through, so I can play what I want right now. I'll leave it on that. And sometimes then on Linux, the album art doesn't always come up. And if I burp it, there we go. Gotta burp it sometimes. And it starts out right away. So, what do you want to consider? You know, are you looking to come over to Linux? There's a lot of choices to make and a lot of things that you got to think about as you come over. I'm going to make some suggestions. I'm not going to tell you what you should be doing. You will need to do your research. And I will tell you, from what I see in the forums, a lot of people will not do their research. They'll listen to someone, they'll watch a video, like this. And that person will tell them this will be the best distribution that you will ever use. And they have issues with it. Code with TD. Let's see if my shit works here. And my walk-on videos are not going to work because of the randomness or the being on Linux. Hello, Code with TD. My random music, my random videos, but my sound should have come through that would have told me that someone joined on Twitch. You saw the title and saw the word thinking. I came up as fast as I could. Please tell me you're not thinking again. How do you know how dangerous it is? It is very dangerous for me to think. I've been, streaming off of Linux, or I had been streaming off of Linux from the very beginning of my streaming career, 7 years ago about. And that's how I got started in streaming, and I started a little bit at a time. And I did pretty well. I got pretty far. I learned how to install StreamerBot and Wine, and I got certain things to work. And I'm like, man, this is fantastic. This is really good. Man, maybe I should move to Windows. And my first move to Windows was actually running StreamerBot off of Windows. And because with WebSocket and OBS, I had a smaller laptop with Windows 10 on it, and it worked. I didn't have to worry about a lot of things. Everything worked. The Wine install for StreamerBot was really good. So, do you use StreamerBot? What do you use to stream with? To help you stream. If you're using OBS, now then maybe this is on an OBS platform. You might be using Streamlabs broadcaster. I know nothing about that, But if you are strictly, I should have put the caveat OBS. You've never heard of StreamerBot? Well, let me tell you about this. See, there was this one guy. His name was Terrier Darts. And he traveled the length and breadth of his great land to create things to help streamers. And he disappeared. And stopped talking. No. Don't mind me. I'm trying to be animated. Those that are watching, Code with TD, he does things with created stuff with StreamerBot. Codes games and things. I like the comment on Terrier Darts, but I'd like to remain family friendly in others' streams. Yeah, but it could be worse. He could be a president. Oh, I had to go there, didn't I? I had to go there. So mainly this stream is about, I use OBS, and I've been using OBS almost my early days of streaming. I actually streamed off of Hangouts because it went right live to YouTube. And it wasn't, I think I'll be coming up on my 3-year Twitch anniversary where I started multi-streaming. And Twitch is a great platform for streamers. It's much, in my opinion, everything is my opinion here. It's not my fact. There are no facts here. It's the superior streamer platform. You can stream easily on YouTube. That's not a problem. But the things that you can get done and do and engagement can't be beat as far as Twitch goes. As far as Kick and Rumble and all those, again, if that's what you do, you might as well stop here. You might be able to use some of the stuff. I know you can use StreamerBot on Kick and TikTok and a couple other platforms. But I'm strictly OBS, and I use StreamerBot. So what's the consideration? When I went from Linux then full-time to Windows to stream, man, some of the workarounds just disappeared and everything just worked because it was all cohesive. Because StreamerBot is made for Windows. Well, Linux has got this great thing called Wine that you can run many, and there's a couple other programs out there to run window programs on here. They're not always 100%. You don't get a lot of you lose some of the ability of StreamerBot in Linux. My current setup is I am on Endeavor OS, an Arch-based system. I do not recommend, unless you are a Windows Power user, and even then, to go with an Arch-based distribution. It is not completely beginner friendly. You want to start out with, if you want to start out with close to what you have on set up on OBS and Windows with StreamerBot, my suggestion is a Ubuntu-based system. Why? Because through the OBS website, there's a thing called a PPA, a personal setup that will give you the top version of OBS. It's going to be usually a point version or so behind Windows, but it works really well, and it's always updated. Do not do it from their store and everything. And right now, I'm not talking about using a flat pack. That's another story in itself. But because most developers of OBS plugins now are doing their plugins for Windows, for Linux, and for Mac. Some of the top plugin creators, Exeldro, Finite Singularity, are the two top on the list. There's a lot of plugins in that, but they make, the two of them make some of the most used plugins for OBS. You can get those easily to work in Linux. Why am I on an Arch-based system? Because I know a bit more of what I'm doing to do this. I know how to get my plugins. Not everybody should start out in an Arch-based system. You will do much better in an Ubuntu-based system. My desktop is a GNOME desktop. There's a lot of desktops. And I am going to be bouncing around. There's a lot of kind of caveats, a lot of things to be concerned about. But this time around, I installed, there's a flat pack called GNOME Bottles. And it is a much easier way to get Windows applications in on Linux. And StreamerBot is in their list. And right now, I am running StreamerBot. I ported over my Windows application, my Windows setup. It was relatively easy to do. And actually, because of that, I have the groups working really well. I don't know if this was something that was improved with the new setup by Nate, who creates StreamerBot, but you couldn't get, if you're used to this, you couldn't get this on the wine version of Linux before. But I do have to make some changes, and we're going to see throughout the stream if some of those changes, where I had made them or where I need to make them. A lot of thought process in it. You cannot come over and just throw everything together and expect it to work like Windows. There is a big difference. Hopefully, I think the plan, right, TD, is Nate. One of the reasons why he did this update is to work better, maybe with Linux, and to go with a native Linux and Mac application. He's a one-man show. He does his best. We get this to work. But my suggestion, again, is to go with an Ubuntu-based system, because you are going to get, in my humble opinion, you're the most Windows-like setup that you can get. You'll get majority of your plugins. Certain plugins will not work. You might be able to get them installed in Linux. Code with TD does stuff with StreamerBot, so he knows. I gotta come up with a better spot for my Windows thing here. You'd like to comment on Terry Darts, but you like to be friendly in that. It's step 2 to making it multi-platform. Step 1 was introduction of triggers. Okay. And that would be, that would be nice, but he's, you can't rush this. Most of us on Linux are used to that, to get things take a long time for things to work. So step 1 with coming over to Linux from Windows is do your research. Just don't jump over. Just don't watch 1 or 2 videos. You're not going to come over and immediately be streaming. If you're techy enough, you might be able to. But you will have some difficulties, because there's a certain difference. I got majority of my plugins from a source called the Arch User Repository, which could be the Wild West of software. But I know how to install them and how to get them. With the Ubuntu based setup, because the Ubuntu platform for OBS is the main official platform in Linux. It's designed to work well on Ubuntu based systems. I'm not going to get into a lot of the distributions and all that. You're going to have to do your research, but I'm going to start off with looking at Ubuntu base. You're not going to install it from any of the repositories of those Ubuntu systems. You're going to go to the website. And you're going to go to OBS download. And you're going to follow these instructions. For Ubuntu, you're going to run, and you're going to have to learn the terminal. Oh, it's not scary. Terminal looks like this. It's like PowerShell if you've used PowerShell in Windows. And you're going to, copy this line. Copy and paste. This kind of look bad on Linux, but you're here on OBS. And you're going to put in these commands, and you will have the the newest version of OBS on your Ubuntu system. Do not go through their stores, any of them. Okay. The other official build is a flat pack from Flatpub. Think of it as a container of its own, which has the most current OBS in there too. But the way flat packs work, and I'm not going to get into that. That could be a long day of talking about flat packs alone. You are limited in the plugins that you have. They have to be packed up for flat packs. There might be certain little ways that you can work around it, but we're talking about the easy way right now of you coming over from Windows to Linux and getting your system running. If you use very little plugins, flat packs are fine. But if you do a lot of the stuff that I do and things like that, it's not going to be that great for you. Because if you go to, we'll look at a couple of plugins. And it looks like Exeldro, if you set it up, the most current updated plugins will show up at the top. There are pages and pages of plugins. I wouldn't particularly go past the first 2, 3, or 4. Your most current ones and your best popular ones will be here. OBS has like their most popular ones that are downloaded here. But we'll take an example here. The Move plugin by Exeldro. What's the Move plugin? It makes you do, so like when I am moving my scenes and you see it kind of bounces around in that, that's done with a scene transition using Move. I have certain things that will move around as I do stuff. That's the Move plugin. You go to his download and see he has for Mac a Linux zip. He's got the Windows installer and the Windows zip. The Windows installer, if you're on Windows, is probably best. It just installs it right in the folder that's supposed to go, and you don't have to worry about it. If there's no window installer, you have to use the Windows zip. But you download the Linux zip. Sometimes it might be a what they call a .deb, which will install that plugin where it belongs. You personally have to put, and it's actually easier to put to unzip Linux plugins and put them in the plugins folder than it is on Windows, because in Windows you have to deal with .dlls, and you don't do that. So in a way, plugins are easier to put in Linux. So we'll look at it. So his Move plugin, you see that there was Linux there. Let's see. And you'll see when you go in, like here, the supported platforms, Windows and Linux, that's what you're going to look at. If you look at download, sometimes it will download right away. I don't need this one. I'm not going to use it. So we're going to cancel this out. Advanced Scene Switcher. This is what I use greatly. It's for Windows, Mac, and Linux. This gives you automation in your OBS setup. But see, that's Mac and Linux too. The Atom Stream Suite, if you use Atom, you can get the Stream Suite, although I've heard there's some problems with the Stream Suite. But you can see that's for Linux, so that's what you're going to look at. You can find it, and most of these Linux packages are for Ubuntu, the Ubuntu base. I hear a lot of people on Windows like to use the Scene Tree plugin. Windows only. You won't get this to work in Linux. Background removal, that's what so I got myself a nice fancy RTX 4060. To me it's fancy. I've been running a 1660 for years. Now I can do RTX, the NVIDIA AR stuff like background removal. Not as easy. I used to use a green screen. I hate using it. I got good at it, but hanging a green screen for every stream, because where my studio is a multi-use room. I can't leave it up all the time. I started in Linux. The background removal plugin works. I'll show you in a little bit. It's not that great. And there's a new one, some new live background remover light. But you can get these to work in Linux. So there are a lot of plugins for Ubuntu-based systems, and that for you to find. And like there's at least 15 pages here. Most of these at the end are pretty old, like from 2018. Chances are they won't particularly work. You can look at them. Like they still have a Linux browser in here, which is not needed anymore. Hey, Blazik, welcome to the stream. My audio's not coming up for that. That's the bad thing about Linux. Or StreamerBot on Linux. So anyway, Copper is back. What's up, young man? And just briefly, I'll show you. So there's a place, I know, called the Flat Hub, which you get all these flat packs, a lot of applications in here, and OBS is one of them. But again, the way flat packs are, they're containerized. They kind of separate from the system, more secure, more. Movie Night by the Bay, welcome to the stream. I got a lot of things to fix on my Linux setup here. But getting the Flatpak plugins, if you download OBS from FlatHub, they have already, some of the developers have packaged their stuff in flat packs. But these are the only ones in Linux. Now, these are quite a bit, but there might be certain particular ones that you might have needed. I use DroidCam. Well, you also have to install some other things with DroidCam to get that to work. There's the background removal that I'm going to be using. You can get the Atom multi-stream, vertical canvas, the stream suite, a finite singularity one, composite blur. That's a great one. Advanced scene switcher, advanced masks. Of course, now my son wants to. I got on with this later than I wanted to. I was having issues. Coming over. I had been testing my streams in Linux for a while, but this was the first one with StreamerBot running, and I moved StreamerBot's window and it crashed on me. Okay. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on flat packs and all that, but so you can get a good amount of plugins for OBS from FlatHub, but not as many as you can get. Let's see how many were here. I mean, I use DroidCam. I don't use OBS VK capture, background removal. Don't really need GStreamer or the distro AV. That's like the NDI stuff if you use that. I don't use ATEM. I don't use vertical canvas. I don't use the ATEM Stream Suite, Composites Blur. I don't use the hotkeys, advanced scene switcher, advanced mask. I use on Windows about 35 plugins and on Linux 33. So total here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. There's more than 30 here, but one I'm looking for particularly is source copy. There's not a source copy one, which is a great Exeldro plugin, and you can easily save some of your Windows settings in a JSON file and then port them into Linux real easily. But there's no Flatpak for it. Okay. So enough on Flatpaks. That's another story there. I'm doing okay, Blazik. Guess who's coming to the US next October? Oh my God, not you. We're going to cover a couple of things and then we shall move on. So, again, do your research. Don't just jump into systems. Cody, I made sure that worked for you. But my entry scenes are not working right. My walk-on scenes are not working. Look at do your research. I will tell you the easiest way is, whether you use Ubuntu, Kubuntu, Xubuntu, you're going to find a bunch of them. Linux Mint is a good starting point. The new Zorn OS is a good starting point. And you'll get the closest to Windows setup that you can in OBS on an Ubuntu-based system because of the plugins, the plugin compatibility. StreamerBot, if you use StreamerBot, and this is aimed at a lot of StreamerBot users, or if you use a lot of specific, you have a Stream Deck, a lot of that doesn't work in Linux. This just in. I have to fix my line down there. So much changes to make. Please, Steve, Shave Steve looks handsome. Wow, you're not. I don't know if you can hear that. I didn't shave today. Um, Well, Blazek, you have an integrated course. Is that what a course in UCLA this year? Nice. You'll be out of California. Okay. Oh, that was from Movie by the Bay. Yes, that was a good setup. Okay, that works. I just gotta set up the time. Okay. In Windows, so you notice my text source was off. In Windows OBS uses text GDI. It's their text format. Brand text to your screen. In Linux, it's text freestyle. Or you can do pthread. The difference is in StreamerBot, it has like for texting, it will say text GDI. It will connect to text freestyle or text pthread. The big difference is text GDI, you can have a background. Hello, on CTTV. And it's, yes, hello, Strawberry Kitten. Welcome to the stream. As you can see, some of my things are off in my Linux setup. I haven't gone completely, I haven't straightened everything out yet. Text GDI, you can put a color background to it. In Freestyle and pthread, you can add a background to it with color source. That's a bit of a difference. So I had seen a mention in OBS about the OBS forum. Someone had asked, oh, how do I get it to work? If you're in, or actually it was in a StreamerBot forum. In StreamerBot, you just select text GDI, but you connect it to a text freestyle or a text pthread source. It'll work the same. That comes up. But the alignment gets off. You can see my alignment was off. I've been straightening up stuff for a couple of days. Now, I just moved everything over in the last week and started working on my StreamerBot OBS setup, and I'm finding a lot of things not working. Okay. There's a nice thing in StreamerBot on Windows for random files. You can, like for commands, I can do a random and it will bring up, I had this whole list of files with some crazy shit in it, and I'd be able to activate them by just doing the command random. I am having a hard time getting it to, the files are on my Linux system, but in StreamerBot, in Wine, or in the bottles, it creates a Z drive for your Linux system. It'll see those files. Like I got several text files. It sees those files. But the video files are on the Linux system, and OBS isn't pulling up from the Z file. It's I got a ticket open, or not a ticket, a comment open in the StreamerBot forum, and the Linux StreamerBot forum, about that, to see if someone can help me fix that. What doesn't work? Good question. What doesn't work? If you have C#, if you use C# to create codes, the coding editor doesn't work in Linux. Let me show you an example of that. So here are my random folder files. If I go to edit any code, You get a blank box. Nothing shows up. There's no editing that you can do. How is my hand? Can I play other games? Not really. I have no control. I have no feeling in my thumb. So the topic today is coming over from Windows to Linux, and my suggestions and opinions of an easy way to do it, and what to look for. So this is the window that you would put your codes in and compile it, and there's nothing in there. It doesn't work. There's an issue in Wine with this. It has to do with WebView 2, which is we'll say a light version of Microsoft Edge. Some have had success. I have not. So like my chat window. This is the chat window, totally blank. At least it comes up. It looks like it's starting to read something and nothing. So the chat that I'm using is actually, this is the web version. I'm using the web version. Hello, Fusimaru. How are you? Is that how you pronounce it? You have already switched. What did you switch to? And how did you switch? So you're not going to get the chat. I've been working on it in bottles. If you go to the StreamerBot OBS forum, no, it's the StreamerBot Linux forum, sorry, in Discord, you'll see some chats on there and that. My thing of bottles says that WebView 2 is installed. I can't get it to work. What won't work? Your voice. If you use voice control, you set up, like over on my Windows side, I have Friday. Hey, Friday, move to, main scene Friday. This side, doesn't work. Voice control does not work in Linux because I am on Arch. I have been around a while, but I'm suggesting anybody move to Ubuntu first to start out. And I use bottles to run StreamerBot in. So voice control does not work in StreamerBot. Oh, I forgot my finger. Thank you. By the way. SpeakerBot. If you use SpeakerBot at all, does not work right now in Linux. When Bottles installs StreamerBot or makes the bottle for StreamerBot, the web, the Windows version, in that it installs Net 4.8.1, which SpeakerBot needs to run. But if you try to run SpeakerBot in that bottle, SpeakerBot says that it needs 4.8.1. So it's not seeing it in SpeakerBot. It's not seeing that .NET 4.81. So SpeakerBot, if you used to use it SpeakerBot and you use voices, you use Google Voice, 11IO, or any of those, not going to work with StreamerBot in Linux. Hopefully one day. So there's a lot of things that you kind of need to adapt to going from Windows to Linux. You were thinking about Catchy OS, should be a fork of Arch. Yes, so is Endeavor. It's just an easy way to install Arch. It's not full Arch, by the way. I find it easy. I've used it before. But for those coming over, to make it easy, I do suggest using an Ubuntu-based system. Now, what doesn't work on OBS in Linux? Well, Linux is um, working on a new, let's say, Windows manager. Used to be X11 and it still uses a lot of X11, but now Wayland, which is more secure and more towards the future. And then Linux has been working on it they've been working on it for over 15 years. Um, over here, I don't know why I didn't add my microphone to this scene. Oh, that's right. I because I rebuilt it. Um, So anyway, what I was trying to say is, so in docks, you can get custom on Windows. You're used to custom docks. You have your Twitch docks, your Linux, your not Linux dock, any of your Twitch docks and any chat dock and all that. You can't, in most cases, if you're using a system that's using Wayland, you will not get custom docks. There's an issue with that. It's not a Linux issue. It's not an OBS issue. It's part of the Chrome embedded framework that OBS uses to open up windows in that. That's not going to work. It's coming. It's a long process with Ceph, but that's the issue there. So custom docks, if you're used to custom docks, moving to Linux, you might not get them to work in OBS. Do you use VSTs? Do you add VSTs? I had VSTs. I was working with VSTs actually in Linux. I could only find one that worked, but it was a pitch voice changer, and I had different voices for like a hologram and things like that. They won't work on a Wayland system because you can't open the windows without them with them. So getting a VST in that. So certain things, if you use Stream Fog for your camera, chances are not going to work. That's Windows only. There's a lot of things that you're going to have to look at and figure out what's going to work. If you are a relatively complex streamer, and that's the caveat, if you are a relatively complex streamer of porting all your stuff over, is going to be, again, if you're a simple streamer. Now, gaming, again, I can't even get into gaming. I don't game. I don't do all that. I will try to put a video together. I'm going to have to edit it a bit. It actually it'll go to video on YouTube. So you will see a video on YouTube of the stream. It's on live right now, but then it will turn into a video. I may edit it to keep it a bit. I do ramble on. I had points in that I wanted to follow, and I just see a lot of people in the OBS forum in the Linux side. Someone not only brand new to Linux, but brand new to OBS. And I need to go live. I need to stream. What do you want? I'm on Hyperland. I like really these how can I say it? These these distros that are not streamlined to the everyday user because someone told them that it will work really well, or someone told them that they can get this to work on it. or someone told them that that can work on it. I'm telling you, if I'm not telling you, I'm suggesting that you're coming over from Windows to Linux, start yourself out in a good spot with an Ubuntu based system, install OBS that way, and get started that way. Use the streamer bot. If you use streamer bot, you have two choices on the install. It's follow the directions in the streamer bot forum. They have a very easy wiki that you do this, you do this, you do this, you get wine installed, you get streamer bot, and you're up and running. I did it, so everybody can. I think everybody can do it. The bottles installation from the Flatpak is a very easy setup. That makes it so much easier. It's like a couple of clicks and you're installed. Do I have regrets using Arch? Not at the moment, no. I was using Pop OS, which is Ubuntu based. They changed over their desktop to Pop Cosmic. And it's strictly a Wayland setup. And I was having issues in OBS on that. And I decided for the time being, I'm done. I looked at going with another Ubuntu system, but I'm like, I used Endeavor OS, an Arch-based system, for several months. I streamed successfully on it, so I came back to it. I'm used to it. I don't suggest anybody else start that way, unless you're a big power user in that. But I believe even PewDiePie started out on Linux Mint. So my suggestions of distros to look at, to come over, you can look at Ubuntu. You can look at it's called Kubuntu. It's got the KDE desktop. Xubuntu, it's with a Z, an X, pronounced Xubuntu. It has an older Windows system. It will still be using X11. It will be probably the easiest, but it's got an older looking interface. There's a lot of people that love XFCE, it's called. A lot of people love it, but if you're looking for a more modern, I would go with Zorn 18, which is a good choice. Linux Mint is a good choice. So those are your better systems to start out with. Stay away from Arch. Stay away from Fedora. There's a lot to go on in a Fedora system. It's totally different. You have one issue with Linux with Mint. Ethernet doesn't work. Stopped working for a few days. Linux Mint is still on X11, so you will get custom docks in that. As far as Ethernet, I've used Mint a couple of times. It wasn't my personal choice to use, but it is a good starting point. A lot of new users use it because of the simplicity and the way they set it up for the users. Ethernet, that's like another kind of thing that I might be able to help with, but not at this moment. But know that things are going to be way different coming over. Your setup's going to change. You have to change all your text source. Certain things are just not going to work. Oh, have I had your experience? No. No, I have not had that experience. Going back to Strawberry Kitten, sorry I missed your comment earlier. You're on Ubuntu base system, Ubuntu Mate, now Kubuntu since 2007. 2007. Never failed me, rock solid. Yeah. And usually Mint's set up to, like handle any, like, it's like whatever your Ethernet is, whatever your Wi-Fi is, they have all the drivers and that in there. Coffee somewhere. But as you can see on some of my actions in that, I still have a lot to change and a lot to fix. There's certain things that not. I came back. I don't know why I decided this. I'm not going to come back full time to Linux. I just figured I'd give my 2 cents, my babbling 2 cents of how to make it easier for yourself to come over. Might be seeing ads on Twitch right now. Um, and I see the people that have problems in the forum because they're taking it too hard. Taking it too hard. That's not right. They're going with the harder distributions. They think it's easy. Oh, I can handle this. I'm up for a challenge. It's just a challenge enough to come back and try to figure out why this works. I understand why people are coming over. Windows are failing people. They didn't have machines that can update to Windows 11. They don't feel like going through all that, trying to debloat it. And a lot of times, if you try to debloat Windows 11, you take out stuff that works with StreamerBot if you use StreamerBot. There may be a lot of, if you are a VTuber, there may be a lot of stuff there. Microsoft Copilot, yeah. I did some AI stuff. If you caught the beginning of the stream, I did some. I had Chat GPT make me a couple of starting screens that I'm using. Everybody's been doing that. Those are the ones you see. Yes, I'm burning up everything. Arch people, yes, they are. All right, my mouse is. Oh my god. So I use I use a laptop to monitor the stream, and I use a program called DeskFlow to use my mouse between my desktop and my laptop. And now my mouse is caught up in the stream up here. Oh my gosh. Where are you? I can't move anything. I was gonna type up here. But hardware support, yes, you get more modern hardware support. The up to date kernels. If I'm on a NVIDIA card, so I get the up to date drivers, which is usually it's still a thing or two behind Windows. More people, I think, have successful stuff with AMD. I haven't used AMD in years. All right, why can't I get out of my... Oh man. Literally, my mouse is stuck on the upper laptop. I can't move it down to my desktop. Oh, the problem. So this is problems. These are problems that are true and natural that you're gonna see. Trying to stream off of Linux. Again, depending how your depending on how complex your stream is. I know people that just throw up a title and all that, and they're fine, and they're streaming and they're talking. They make game that way too. They don't do anything really fancy. That's fine. I'm not telling you shouldn't. I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you how to stream. I like it complex. I like a lot of actions and all that. And it is, to me, easier in Windows than it is in Linux. And I've been a Linux user for a long time. And as long as some, why can't I get enough? All right, this is kind of messing the stream up here. Fortunately, I do have to go too. All right. I know. Give me 1 second. You can see him out of here. All right, I disconnected the setup on my laptop. I have DeskFlow. Well, you have to have it on 2 desktops. You know, the one that you're using. So my computer is a desktop. I have DeskFlow on this to control the mouse and keyboard on the laptop. So you can use. I used to control 5 computers at one time with desktop. That's DeskFlow. I'm sorry, DeskFlow. So hopefully I probably rambled on too much. I just I get these ideas that I want to get on and talk about it, and I make a couple of points and all that, and I get distracted. I like to stream. I like to get in touch with people and have fun. But streaming should be fun. It should not be very troublesome, right? How long should I use Mint before you would suggest me to move on to Arch? How long have you been on Mint? How many, months, years? I mean, the good thing about Linux is you can put it on a USB drive and test them out. If you aren't like on my desktop, I have 4. I mean, I own several SSDs. I bought a bunch of cheap ones, small ones, so I can test this out. So I have several that I could put in my system at any one time. You can do it live. But your Ubuntu, like Mint, makes it just easy for the new user. Yeah, Hans. I mean, if unless even with Endeavor or like Cache, Endeavor, some of the others that are have a easy installer, and you can install any desktop you want. Um, it's got a good community behind it. Hello, Chris Chatbar. Welcome to the stream. And you can see my lettering, everything's off. My sounds aren't working. I've only gone through a bit of my StreamerBot setup, and there's still a lot to go through. So these are mistakes that you're going to see if you're porting over your Windows setup. Would it be different if I went straight from scratch? I didn't want to. That's another thing. I mean, once you install StreamerBot, do you port over your Windows stuff, or do you just start building everything from scratch? Some of it, you don't want to spend the time doing that. It takes a lot of time. But Fusimaru, are you looking to stream? Do you stream, or is it just moving from Windows to Linux and that? Because again, go with the easy stuff. You're gonna have there's unfortunately we are our worst enemies in the Linux community. There are people that just hate Ubuntu bases, and they're going to tell you to go to Debian. They're going to tell you to go to Arch. Don't listen to them. Don't. Don't. Because when you need their help, they won't give it to you. My suggestion is Ubuntu. Linux Mint, stay on that for a while. Do you have I mean, is it on your laptop? I mean, do you have some larger USB drives that you can put an Arch base on there and test it without installing it? Because it'll aggravate you to death if you have the wrong system. You know, there are some things that even Fedora could be an easy install, but there's so much to get that going. Debian, oh, it's stable. You'll want to be on Debian. Hello, Tony. Yep, none of my sounds are working in Linux. So probably on Tuesdays, I will do a Linux thing here that people can ask questions and I can try to answer them. And I will be working on my stuff to see if I can get it to work. Volume is a bit low. What, my microphone or audio? I believe my microphone is fine. I see it working pretty well there. Says he's tried Arch many times. He's ended up reinstalling it multiple times because something is breaking on Arch. Maybe because I'm leaning back and I'm not talking into it. Or it's okay. It was Arch taking over. It was Endeavor taking over the microphone. It was quieting the sound a little bit. Audio on both Windows and Linux suck. Bluetooth on Windows and Linux suck. Audio setting up, that is issues. For me, my system, I'm hardlined upstairs here. I use Wi-Fi downstairs, but I never ever stream on Wi-Fi unless I'm doing some testing, which I did a couple of years ago with some web-based programs to stream with. But you got to have patience. If you're coming over, know that you're gonna run into trouble. You're gonna run into different things. Things don't work. I remember my first foray into Linux was 2015, and that was before Linux it just started getting good. In most cases, Linux is very good right now. But the problem with Linux is there's hundreds of distributions. A distribution is like an OS. You'll get the hardline Linux people. Oh no, it's not an OS. Fuck it, it's an OS because that's what we're used to, right? You go crazy trying to figure out, and I went through that rabbit hole of testing and that. But since 2015, I've been on daily only 3 types of, well, 4 if you count Windows. But on Linux, it's been 3. I was on Peppermint OS for my first 4 years, which was Ubuntu based. Now it's Debian based. Then for 4 years, or 3 years, I've been on Pop OS. And now I'm starting to be on my daily drivers in Endeavor and Arch based. I think I'm ready. I'm not ready to completely build my own system. I will take Endeavor with no problem. Following Steve, who's Tony, has been on Fedora GNOME for 2 weeks. It's good enough for Linux Torvalds. It's good enough for me. Oh, and the desktops. Yes. Oh, the desktops. I didn't want to cover any of that, really. The desktops you'll decide what you want. But each one is a little bit different. I will take you for a brief tour of my desktop. Although I don't know if I want to close StreamerBot or move StreamerBot because I moved the window and it crashed on me. But you know what? I think I have a video that I can show you briefly. Here we go. All right, so I took a recording of my desktop. This is what they call the GNOME desktop. Totally different. I got extensions. You'll hear about that. That I can make it look like this, but this is part of of what you can make GNOME look like. That's my desktop. I've made some other changes since I made this quick video. Linux looks good. You can make it look at anything that you want. You can do things with it that you never could do with Windows. Very simple. Very, very, very simple. But unfortunately, I am going to have to go. As you see, I got a lot of things to fix. So I think on Tuesdays, I'll be streaming on my Linux system, trying to get it to work, and working on helping you the best I can. Steve, are you still on Windows, or did you come over to the dark side? No, I'm still on the dark side of Windows. Linux people think that Windows is a dark side. Hans put Debian GNOME desktop on his brother's MacBook Pro. Looks almost Mac-like, right? You can do it in that. So, my message out there, my message going forward, if you are on Windows, and I'm aiming it at streamers, and you stream, is it worth coming over to Linux? It can be. It is going to be a difficult journey. No doubt about it. You're going to learn things. It's going to take a while. You will Eventually, when it works out, you will have fun. But if you remember back, even in Windows, if you started streaming, did you get OBS right? Did you have problems? Did you use OBS? What did you do? Are you using Meld now? Or do you use Slobs? Are you or it's not called Slobs anymore? It's Stream Elements or whatever, or Stream something. What is it called? It was a forked version of OBS, and they had to lose the OBS name. Are you, back in the early days of Windows, when you first were setting up, did you have problems with it? There's things that don't work sometimes on Windows. It's just an operating system. But Linux will be a big difference and a big change. And I'm not telling you it's difficult. I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. I'm going to tell you it's going to be difficult. You will learn, and you may have fun out of it. And that realize that, and also look at why what system do you have that you're coming off that doesn't work, that Windows 11 doesn't work on. You can get a lot of ones that off of Linux to work on that system, whether it be a laptop or that, but most of them are underpowered. That's a problem with, for those that are on Linux and stream. They're on underpowered laptops. They might not have a desktop. I don't have the most powerful desktop, but I have a pretty decent desktop. I can do all the stuff. If I put any of this stuff that I have right now on a laptop, the laptop crashes. It just cannot handle it. And no matter what Linux distribution you have, it's not going to be any better. So a lot of caveats, a lot of things that you have to look at, what distribution and all that. And don't listen to anybody that says this is your distribution. This is the only distribution that you should have, because it's all bullshit. Because you will eventually, it's like, ever heard of the cat distribution system? If a cat shows up at your house, he decided that that's where he wants to live. You might like that cat. I don't know, bad analogy in that. But you will eventually find a distribution that will work and be like home. It will fit like a glove. And you'll be okay with it. But otherwise, it is going to be a difficult journey. And that if you're just coming over, you're not streaming, then you have nothing to worry about. You're still gonna have a ongoing process of learning. Many similar things to Windows, and beware of distributions that say they're Windows-like. I don't think there's anything such as Windows-like. They might look like Windows in that, but they won't act. Right click and things like that. A lot of them are different. Very similar. You won't have any issues. Well, I shouldn't say that. Very similar, but different. Most Windows programs won't work on Linux. You can use Wine and all that. So a lot of caveats. I'm rambling here. My son is pressuring me to pick him up. I started later because things didn't work. Things crashed as I was starting, and that's happening. That will happen. So look for me on Tuesdays to do this Linux streaming, and then other day I'm just on my Windows system playing either GeoGuessr or just chatting with you guys. So I hope a lot of you come back. If you have any questions, I have links to my Discord forum and to Blue Sky. Come check me out there. All right, so we're going to see if my timer works on my other scene. Going to move over. And the call out it's not working. There we go. Oh, it didn't. erase my old stuff. So today it was Codewood TD, The Blazik, Movie by Night by the Bay. Cody did show up. Hans, Strawberry Kitten, Fusimaru, Krishna Bear, and Following Steve. I hope I didn't ramble too much. A lot to fix on my system. Oh my God, this is going to be crazy. So the next one will be on a Windows system where everything works. I thank you for joining me. I thank you for following. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, Tony. Bye.